What's going on YouTube? My name is Nevin the Barber, and in today's YouTube video we're going to be covering a blurry mid-drop fade. So to get right into this video, you guys can see that I'm using my cordless gamma trimmers. And since this is a mid-drop fade, I will be dropping it in the back of my client's occipital bone. This is very important anytime you do a drop fade. That way it'll fit the contrast and the shape of your client's head. About ½ an inch of a bald line to work with, just so I know where my first initial guideline is at, and then we're going to take off the rest of the bulk at the end of the fade. So for any barber out there that struggles with knocking out their bald line or their skin line in the fade, this is a very effective method just to ensure that you can clear out that line from the start. And same thing, make sure on the sides and the back you keep it nice and symmetrical with that first line that you're carving in, just so your fade can come out nice and even all around. And now that we have our first bald guideline set, we can get right into the start of the fade. So I will begin with the lever all the way open on my BabylissPro Clippers. And with this first guideline, I'm bringing it up about a little bit less than an inch, about 3/4 of an inch above my skin line. Again, with all your guidelines, you want to keep them very symmetrical all throughout the scalp, because this is going to ensure that your fade comes out nice and clean. So now that I have my first guideline set with the 0.5, we have 3 sections: the skin, the 0.5, and the bulk of the hair. So we'll first begin by blending out that first guideline that we put in with the lever all the way open. And we'll knock this guideline out by doing lever play. And what that is we'll slowly start closing the lever. On the BabylissPro Clippers, they have 5 different notches. So if you guys close them one lever at a time, little by little, you'll start to knock out your bottom line. Just be sure to shorten your cutting stroke every time you close the lever. And so now that our 0 to the 0.5 blended out, we can get into our next guideline in this fade. So I'm using the number 1 guard all the way open on my Wahl 1919 anniversary seniors. And I do have a modified Andes bracket on this blade. That's why I was able to use the Andes guards on it. And you guys can see that with this guideline as well, I'm keeping it nice and symmetrical all the way through, just as we did with our 0.5 all the way open. And with the number 1 guard, I just use it all the way open, and then I get straight into the ½ guard to blend it out. So after we have that guideline set, we'll get straight into the ½ guard on my Babyliss Clippers. Again, starting with the lever all the way open, this is going to be leaving the haircut at a number 1 guard length. And with this, I always bring the top of the guard all the way to that guideline that we just created. And this is one of the most important parts of the cut, because this is really where the fade happens with the ½ guard. So you guys want to be very detailed when you're doing your detail work with the ½ guard, because this is going to ensure how blurry your fade actually comes out. So now with the lever all the way closed, I'm just using the corner of my blade just to corner out and disperse out any last dark areas that I see. And same thing on the other side. You guys can see I started with the lever all the way open, using the corner of my blade to flick up to the top of that guideline that we created with the number 1 guard. And little by little, that guideline will just start to slowly disperse away. Just be patient with it. You may have to go back to no guard with the lever all the way open if there's any last dark areas that couldn't be knocked out with the ½ guard all the way closed. So as I said earlier, you guys want to be very detailed with the ½ guard, because this is going to ensure how blurry your fade comes out and how blurry it looks. A lot of the times, beginner barbers will skip detailing the half guard and they'll go straight into the one or trying to clean up the bulk of the hair. And it's very important that you guys detail out this first before you get into the bulk. Begin using my number 4 guard all the way open, flicking up right above his parietal ridge, not taking it too high. Again, with the bigger guards, you guys still want to be very symmetrical with them, just to ensure that you get a nice contour and shape on your client's head. And now using my number 3 guard all the way open.
This'll be on the beat.
Kato, you way too dope, kid.
This'll be on the beat.
Kato, you way too dope, kid.
In my opinion, I personally think shear over comb should be used in every haircut, just because this gives it a nice soft finish to the top of the fade and into the bulk of the hair. To get into my client's lineup, I always like to begin in the middle of my client's head, establishing a nice straight line, and then I'll get into a 90-degree box. And with the C-cup, you guys always want to keep it natural as possible. Anytime you push a client's hairline back, it'll be very noticeable a few days later. So if you want your haircut to last longer and please your client more, keep their hairline natural. You can still get a nice, clean, sharp cut. Just try not to push their corners or their edges back. And like I said, I am using the Gamma trimmers to do this lineup right now. You guys can see that they are hitting pretty nice. If any of you guys would like to purchase them, you can get a discount by using my code Nevin10 on the Gamma website. Now that we have our lineup done, I went ahead and leaned my client back just so I could hit his hairline against the grain with my razor. And this is very important because if you're not going against the grain while using the razor, it's not going to get the shortest cut. So you got to make sure to how your client's growth pattern is. And if their hair is growing in a different direction, just be sure to go against the grain to get the sharpest cut. And to finish off the fade, we're just going to take off the rest of the bulk, again using my Gamma trimmers. And like I said, this is a very effective method to be sure that you don't struggle knocking out your skin line in the middle of the haircut, because you already have your fade done. So after you have your fade done, now you can just come back and take off the rest of the bulk. And I am using my Bronze Series 9 shaver right here. I do highly recommend this shaver just because it's very powerful and it gets the job done a lot easier. And one very important thing whenever you guys are using a shaver is to always make sure that you go above your client's ear. Otherwise, you're going to notice that their haircut's growing back in about 2-3 days. And now I'm just going to put in a few more details into this haircut, ensuring that my client got the cleanest haircut possible. And you guys can see that I'm just rolling my comb at a 90-degree angle right off of his parietal ridge. You don't want to lean the comb into his head because then you will create a gash in your client's haircut. So always be sure to roll out the comb. And now that our fade is pretty much complete, I'm just going to go back, ensuring that it's all the way down to the skin. Anytime you guys ball out your client, you always want to make sure that you go over the ear with the shaver. Again, with my Babyliss Clippers, I'm just going back using the corner of my blade just to detail out any last dark areas that I see. And with that being said, there is your guys' mid-drop fade. If you learned anything in this video today, please be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. My name is Nevin the Barber, and I'm out.